Okay, good morning, class. Today we're going to have your tests only. Make sure you access the speed building. And so you have words that come out, proper names, 240 Charles, and that's it. It's called water heater explosion. And this is going to be test number 1, 240 for 5 minutes, starts in the middle. Were you on the couch when the explosion occurred?
Yes.
What did you hear?
Well, it's hard to describe. Just a big hollow bang.
What did you do?
Just laid there.
Did you get up at all at any time?
Yes.
When?
After I heard Charles hollering for help.
How long after that bang was that?
A couple seconds.
What did you do then?
Jumped up and started out the door.
Where was your mother at the time of the explosion?
In her bedroom.
Do you know what she was doing?
I am not sure.
Did you see your mother at any time when you jumped up and ran to the bank?
She passed me going through the door.
Who called the fire department?
My mother.
Did you ever ask Charles what happened, how the accident occurred?
No.
At no time?
No.
Is today the first time you heard any version of how the accident happened?
Oh, no.
When have you ever heard a description of how the accident happened from Charles?
From some other deposition. I'm not sure when it was.
Is that the only other time that you have heard a description from Charles as to how the accident happened?
Yes.
Have you ever heard a description of the accident from your mother or father?
No.
Have they ever given you an opinion as to how the accident happened?
No.
Has Charles ever given you an opinion as to how the accident happened?
No.
Did you know Charles was going down in the basement to light the hot water heater before the explosion happened?
Yes.
Did you hear the conversation between your mother and Charles about lighting the hot water heater before he went down to the basement?
No.
How did you know then that Charles was going down to light the hot water heater?
Because when I heard that bang, I thought it was the cellar door that shut instead of an explosion. So that's why I just laid on the couch instead of getting up until I heard him hollering.
So then you didn't know he was going down in the basement, is that correct?
No, I just figured he had shut the door because that's the same sound I thought in my mind.
Well, how did you know he was going down in the basement to light the hot water heater?
He had told me, I guess.
How long in terms of time between the time he said, I'm going down in the basement, and the time you heard him holler for help?
I am not sure.
How long was it between the time Charles said, I am going down to the basement, and the time it was that you heard him holler for help?
I don't know, 10, 15 minutes?
Do you recall that day whether the cellar door had been open or shut?
Probably shut.
Had there been any water in the basement that you were aware of at any time prior to the accident?
No.
Let's say in the month before the accident, were you aware of any water in the basement?
I know that there was some flooding, but I can't remember if this was before or after.
Did you ever see the flooding in the basement?
Yes.
How high was the water?
I am not sure.
Did you ever have to try to bail out the water in the basement?
No, I didn't.
Did anyone?
My mom and dad probably.
Do you know whether they actually did bail out the basement or siphon it out?
Yes.
Do you know which they did? Bail or siphon?
Probably both.
Do you know when they did it?
No.
Did you see this little knob?
I can't remember.
Did you see a knob missing from the pilot light?
I can't remember.
Did you see a knob?
I can't remember.
What do you remember about the conversations between your mother and father about how the hot water heater was going out?
None.
What do you remember about the circumstance at all about the hot water heater going out?
I just know it would go out.
Did you ever hear a discussion about your parents wanting to replace the water heater?
No, never.
How about making a phone call to get a repairman out?
No.
Did you ever try to do the dishes and discover only cold water?
No.
How about doing the laundry?
No.
To the best of your recollection, though, once you tried to take a bath and turned on the tap and there was only cold water?
Yes.
That wasn't the day of the accident, was it?
No.
Do you remember on the day of the accident your father coming home from the fields for lunch?
I don't remember that.
Do you recall whether he said that the pilot was off on the water heater?
No.
Do you recall any discussion at all at lunch about the pilot on the water heater?
No.
Do you remember who it was that discovered on the afternoon of the accident that the pilot light had gone out?
No.
Do you know how propane smells?
Yes, it stinks.
Did you smell propane anywhere around the house or yard on the day of the accident?
No.
How about the day before the accident?
No.
Have you ever heard from anybody else that there was a smell of propane either in the house or out in the yard?
No.
How about after the accident?
No.
Have you ever at any time smelled propane around the house?
Yes.
Do you recall when you smelled propane and what the circumstances were?
Sometimes they would have to get some. So they would go and open up the nozzle and get some out, and some fumes would escape.
So somebody would, from time to time, fill a portable propane tank from the main tank?
Yes, they would fill it from there.
Now, there's a tree behind the cellar door, right?
There's rows of them over there.
Were any of the trees ignited during the fire?
No.
None of the trees were set on fire?
The leaves were burnt off.
So the leaves were burned off, right?
Yes.
How far were those trees from the cellar door?
I am not sure.
How high were the leaves burnt or singed?
I am not sure.
At the time of the explosion, you were sick. What type of illness was that?
Do you want the truth?
Yes.
Morning sickness.
I think that ends that line of questioning. Have you reviewed the pleadings in this case?
I don't understand.
The documents, the complaint, the legal documents, have you read them at all?
No.
Do you have any personal claims in this action?
No.
You are not bringing a claim for loss of consortium or anything of that nature.
No.
Do you know that your husband has filed a claim against your parents?
I didn't know that. No.
Do you know it was at least filed against the insurance company for your parents?
No, I didn't know that.
Do you know or believe that your parents allegedly did something negligent to cause or contribute to the accident? And then we have your 225 number 1, Main Street, Blake, Officer Loft, Court Street, Bob Mann, and Jack. And this is going to be 225 Q&A number 1 for 5 minutes, starts in the middle. Now, at that time, is it your testimony that you went straight to Main Street?
No, we didn't.
Where did you go?
He took us to one of his friend's house, and then we went from there to Main Street.
All right, and where did this friend live?
Toward Blake?
And then to Main Street. Is that where you went next?
Yes.
All right, what part of Main Street did you go to?
What do you mean? What part of Main Street?
All right, did you go down there by the train station near that street and then come north on Main Street?
No, we didn't.
All right, then whereabouts on Main Street did you go?
I don't know how to explain it, but I remember there was a big clock out there.
Okay, I would like to direct your attention to this diagram on your right. It's Exhibit A. Do you see it?
Yes, I do.
Okay, in this diagram, Officer Loft showed that your car was on the left side or the west side of this parking lot next to Court Street. Is that where your car was found?
Yes, it was.
So at that point, you were coming south on Court Street when you pulled into the parking lot. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, how was it that you got over on Court Street?
We were coming down Court. And that's when he ran out of gas. So we told him to pull into that parking lot so we wouldn't be blocking other traffic. So he did, and that's when the police officers came in behind us.
All right, now, did you come down or south on Court Street after you had gone north on Main Street?
We came down Court Street.
Were you ever on Main Street that night before then?
No, I don't remember that.
So you just came from Blake over to Court Street and then ran out of gas? Is that your testimony?
Yes. Yes, we did.
Okay, so let me just make sure I quote you correctly. So you planned to meet your girlfriend at Main Street, right?
Yes, that's right.
All right, whereabouts on Main Street were you going to meet your girlfriend?
We were just going to meet up because everybody goes around, you know. We would just eventually meet up.
And you were going to cruise like that until you eventually met your girlfriend?
Yes.
Is that what is commonly called cruising?
Yes.
And that's what you planned to do that night, right?
Yes, that's right.
You were going to cruise around. Did you set any time at all when you had planned to meet your girlfriend?
No, we didn't.
Any set place where you were going to meet your girlfriend? I do not want to cut you off. Were you going to say something else?
She just told me to meet her down there, and when I found her, I would meet with her.
All right, so how long were you going to cruise until you met your girlfriend? However long it took?
However long it took.
Okay, so 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, however long it took until you met up with her. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, was it crowded on that Main Street and other street areas when you pulled into the parking lot of Social Services?
No.
Well, by that I mean, were there a lot of other people cruising that area?
No, not really.
Okay, not really. Would that mean there was some moderate traffic? All right, let me slow down. I'm not trying to confuse you. A few minutes ago, you told the judge that the police at your arrest scene asked Bob Mann why he had weapons in the car. Do you remember saying that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, you said the police did not ask you. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Did the police tell you anything right then? Did they tell you that you were being arrested for carrying a concealed weapon?
No, they didn't.
They didn't tell you why you were being arrested?
No, they didn't. Could I tell my story?
Well, let me ask some questions. Your testimony is that they never told you. Did they handcuff you?
No, they didn't.
But they did take you into custody?
They asked us to get into the car.
And they never told you why?
No, they didn't. Well, I kind of figured why when we seen the weapons in their trunk then.
And did you tell the police officers then, I didn't know the weapons were there?
No, I didn't.
Well, did you, or did they tell you that they were taking you down to the police station?
They had asked us. They asked us if we knew anybody that lived around there that would have a gas can. And I said, yes, my cousin right down the road. And then I figured they were going to help us and take us to the gas station and get some gas, maybe. They asked us to get into the car. They took us down to the station.
And not the nearest gas station with the gas can, did they?
No, they didn't.
And at that point, did you say then, hey, gosh, am I under arrest?
I figured when they took us to the station.
Okay, and they never told you before then that you were under arrest?
No, they didn't.
And they never told you why they were taking you down to the police station? Is that your testimony?
They never told me. They might have told Bob.
When they told her, asked Bob why he had weapons in the car, I mean, you were close by, weren't you?
An officer was talking to Bob alone out by his car. Me and my friend Jack were at the end of Bob's car, and on the other side was Bob and that officer.
But when the police asked you to get in the police car and took you downtown, you realized that you had been arrested, is that right?
Yes.
It wasn't until you got down to the station that you were fingerprinted that you told somebody, hey, it wasn't my gun, it wasn't my knife, is that correct?
Yes.
You never told the officers there at the scene?
No, I didn't.
Now, Officer Loft said that the barrel of this gun, Exhibit B, was sticking out from under the seat. Do you remember him saying that?
Yes, I do.
I believe you already said that it was right between your feet, apparently, when he found it.
Yes.
So during the time you were riding around in your friends, okay, then we have number 225, Tom Jason Durbin, Bill Brown, Dan Durbin, Weld County, Brighton, and Barb. Starts at the beginning. This is 225, number 2 for 5 minutes. State your name, please.
Tom Jason Durbin.
Tom, where are you living at the present time?
At the pen.
Okay, how old are you?
16.
Why are you there living at the penitentiary at this time?
For second-degree murder.
Okay, did you plead guilty to second-degree murder in the death of Bill Brown?
Yes, I did.
And did you receive a sentence pursuant to that plea?
Yeah.
And was that sentence for 20 years?
Yes, it was.
Did you participate in the death of Bill Brown on November 12, 1997?
Yes, I did.
As a part of your plea agreement in that case, did you agree to testify at future hearings and trials concerning the death of Bill Brown?
Yes.
I would like to direct your attention back to November 12, 1997. On that date, did you go to the home of Bill Brown?
Yes, I did.
And do you recall what time you went there?
12:30, 1:45.
Do you recall what the weather was like on that day?
It was cold out, snowing again.
Was anyone else with you when you went there?
Yes.
Do you have a brother?
3 of them.
Is one brother's name Dan or Dan Durbin?
Yes.
Tom, who was with you when you went to the Brown residence?
My brother, Dan.
Is Dan in court today? Would you look around the courtroom?
Yes.
Could you indicate to the judge which person that is? Would it help for us to indicate which portion of the courtroom? Is he in the front half or the back half?
He's sitting right over there.
Okay, you pointed in the direction of this table here. There are 3 people seated there, one in green, one in a tie, and a lady. Which one is that?
The one wearing green.
Do you know the address of the Brown residence?
I know where they live.
Okay, what part of the county? Is it in Weld County?
Yes.
Okay, what part of the county is it in?
What do you mean?
Well, where did you live at the time?
In Brighton?
Okay, is that anywhere near that area?
Yeah, it's around it.
Okay, would you tell the judge what you did when you and Dan arrived at the Brown residence? Do you need a drink of water?
Yeah. Will you ask the question again?
What did you do when you arrived near the Brown residence?
Waited for Bill to come home.
How did you get there?
How did we get there?
Were you walking in a car?
In a car, and then we walked from the car to his house.
Whose car were you in?
My brother's.
Who was driving when you went to the residence?
My brother was.
Now, when you got in the area in relationship to the Brown house, where did you park the car, or where was it parked?
It was on a county road.
How did you get from the place you parked it to the Brown house?
Walked.
Do you remember the area you walked across? What was it like? What kind of a place was it?
It was a cornfield.
When you got up to the house, what did you do?
Waited for Bill to get home.
Okay, and did he come home?
Yes.
Was he in a car or pickup?
Pickup.
Where did he park?
In his driveway.
Did he get out of the pickup?
Yes, he did.
What did you do when he got out of the pickup? Do you need a minute to compose yourself?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you do when Bill got out of the pickup?
Shot him.
What did you shoot him with?
12 gauge.
What did Dan do?
Do you have any tissue? Can you repeat the question?
Sure. What did Dan do when Bill got out of the pickup?
Fired.
Okay, what did he fire?
12 gauge.
Do you know where he fired?
What do you mean?
Well, do you know what he was shooting at?
Yeah.
What?
Bill.
Where? Were any more shots fired?
No.
Well, you testified firing 1 shot. Is that the only shot you fired?
No. I fired the first 3.
How many times did Dan fire his shotgun?
3 times.
Now, before that evening, had you and Dan talked about what you were going to do, namely shooting Bill Brown?
Yes.
Do you remember the first time you and he talked about killing Bill Brown?
Yeah.
How long before this morning of November 12 was that you talked about that? Do you remember approximately?
I think a month or two.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear. What was your answer?
A month or two.
Where were you? Do you recall?
Huh?
Do you recall where you were when you talked about it? Tom, are you having trouble concentrating, or are you just reluctant to testify?
Just a little shaken up, that's all.
Would it help you if you had a minute to get yourself together?
No, go ahead.
Do you remember where you were?
At our home.
Who brought up the subject?
My brother did.
What did he say about it?
He said a man wanted him dead, wanted Bill dead.
Go ahead and describe the conversation between you and him.
Just said a man wanted him dead.
Did he say who wanted him dead?
No,
Did you and he talk about plans for doing it?
not then.
Did you talk about it a second time later?
Yes,
Do you remember where you were then?
we were at our house.
Do you remember when this conversation took place?
When it took place?
Yes, just an approximate would be fine. If you don't know the date, do you know how long it was before the shooting?
I can't remember really.
Now, you say it was at your house?
Yes,
Tell us about that conversation. Who brought it up?
my brother brought it up.
What did he say? Do you recall what he said?
That some man wanted him killed.
Wanted Bill Brown killed?
Yes.
Did you say anything in the conversation? Did you ask any questions?
Told him I didn't want to have anything to do with it.
And at some point you did decide to have something to do with it. Is that right?
Yes.
When was that?
When I found out it was Barb who wanted him dead.
How did you find out it was Barb who wanted him dead?
From my brother Dan.
Where were you when he told you that? At home or where?
At our home, our family home, yeah.
What reason did he? Those are very good. You also, hopefully you get one, okay? Have a good day. Make sure that you all access the speed building beforehand, okay?